Welcome everybody to the first in a series of 2 job search workshops available through the City of Windsor Employment and Training Services. This presentation will concentrate on general job search techniques. We have another presentation that concentrates more so on online job searching. So today we're going to talk about a number of things. First of all, my name is Ben Irwin. I'm a job developer with the City of Windsor Employment and Training Services. I'm going to talk to you today about the services available through our office, as well as the WeSkills database. We're also going to talk about employment expectations. We're going to go through some activities and videos, talk about the labor market, both provincially but also locally, and the hidden job market, and we're going to talk about some things that employers expect or things that you might expect when you're searching for a job. So in regards to employment and training services, we are an Employment Ontario service provider. We're City of Windsor employees. The program is run through the City of Windsor but funded through the province. We do help job seekers get connected with employers that are hiring. We help you sort of define your job search goals and get connected to opportunities in the community. If you were to register with our office, first of all, in terms of eligibility, you'll have to be unemployed or underemployed. We would define underemployed as working under 25 hours per week. But if you were to register with our office, you would meet with an employment caseworker. Right now we're doing phone intakes. Talk about your employment goals, places that you've applied to, strategies that have worked and haven't worked for you. You'd also be eligible for services through the job developers, where you might be eligible for a job placement, where we partially fund your training with a new employer. We do have access to funds to sort of encourage employers to take chances on clients that are registered with our office. You can access a variety of workshops, including these job search workshops, as well as interview workshops and resume workshops. Finally, if you are registered with us, your resume will be on file with us and you'll be the first to know about new job opportunities. I'll give you some more information towards the end of this video about how you can register with the Employment and Training Services Office. In regards to the WeSkills database, it's something operated by Workforce Windsor Essex, who are funded by the City of Windsor. They're an organization that does a number of things, some of which I'll discuss today, but one of the services that they have is their database of resumes. And that is just another opportunity to get your resume out there into the community and give it access to employers. So they have a database of resumes, employers contact them with opportunities, and they do a search and provide resumes to those employers. They also provide resumes to all the Employment Ontario providers in the city. So that includes the City of Windsor, but also other providers like Unemployed Help Center, St. Clair College Employment Resource Center, etc. So the other thing that WeSkills does is they keep a sort of database of local talent. And why that's important is as employers are thinking about expanding, thinking about places that they can move to and open factories or offices, they can come to Workforce Windsor Essex, ask them about the availability of talent, and the WeSkills database will give that indication. So it's good for you, good for the local economy to have your resume in that database. So I'm going to talk to you about a specific job search strategy that is fairly popular, and it's called an elevator statement. You could call it a lot of things, but the way we like to think about it is if you were stuck in an elevator with a hiring manager or somebody that worked at a company that you'd like to work at, you'd have maybe 30 seconds or a minute to sell yourself to that person. It's best if you've got something that you've practiced before, or that you have a quick statement that you can state that identifies your skills, your accomplishments, your goals, things like that. So what we recommend is you prepare a statement, 30 seconds to a minute long, practice it, do it in front of a mirror, say it to your friends, see how it sort of comes across. and similar to how you would practice for an interview or those kind of things. And then when you get an opportunity with a hiring manager, whether you're stuck in an elevator or you're handing them a resume, in a store or in an office somewhere, at least you have that sort of pre-planned statement that you can say. So, for example, I approach employers on a regular basis with basically selling our services with employment and training services, and specifically what job developers can do. So what I say when I approach an employer is, my name is Ben Irwin, I'm a job developer with the City of Windsor Employment and Training Services. We're an Employment Ontario service provider that helps connect job seekers with employers that are hiring. We have a database of candidates that have a variety of different skills and abilities and experience, and we can help fill open spots with your business. Sort of a quick version. It changes from time to time. I make alterations as I have success with it or don't have success, or as I judge people's reaction to different statements. So again, that's just an example. Yours will sound hopefully even better. This is a sort of old school job search record. It's something that we do recommend that you keep, and whether it's to write down on paper similar to something like this, or you keep an electronic version on a spreadsheet or on your phone through an app, figure out a way to record your job search. The reason why this is important is you're going to be applying for a lot of jobs. Sometimes, with employers, it takes them several months even to get back to you and to actually start calling people that are putting resumes in. And it just sounds more professional if you can remember who the contact person was, remember what the job title was that you applied for, and that stuff. And also when you go to follow up, you can refer back to, I dropped a resume off on this date, or I emailed a resume on this date to such and such a person. So it's a good idea, again, to keep a record of your job search, keep it somewhere that's easily accessible. And if you want to do it old school on paper, this would be a sort of a sample of what you would do. Just in terms of some do's and don'ts when it comes to your job search, do some research on what the skills are required, hours, location, the wages that are being offered for the job that you're applying for. We don't recommend that you just apply to everything that's available. We recommend that you take some time to look at the skills required, figure out if you've got the skills or if you can learn the skills, figure out if the wage is acceptable to you, if you can get to the place that you're applying to. These are all important things, because the last thing we want is for you to be offered a position and for you to turn it down. The other thing is, in regards to that, we really just want you to concentrate your efforts, because job searching is hard, and we want you to concentrate your efforts on jobs that you have a realistic ability to achieve. And so, in that case, it's more about the quality of your applications as opposed to the quantity of your applications. The other thing you can do is consider conducting informational interviews. This can be done through phone calls, through email messages, through LinkedIn. There's lots of different opportunities that you can take to speak to people that are either in the job that you're applying for, or maybe work at the company that you'd like to work for. And you can find out information about the type of wage that you might expect, what the job duties are, what type of skills you might need to acquire in order to be eligible for that position. So, one of the things that you can try to do is figure out the skills or education that's required and kind of work backwards, where, if there's a certain college degree that's required, think about if you have the prerequisites for that college degree. If you don't, maybe you have to work backwards and go and upgrade some of your high school courses, or that kind of thing. Just briefly on some don'ts. Again, just don't apply to anything. Quality over quantity. Don't be surprised if it does take some time, if you don't find a job right away. Again, it's a long, frustrating process. It can be. My own experience and the experience of many of the people that I work with is that you can search and search and search, and all of a sudden one day you have 2 or 3 job offers. Happened to me the first time I got a sort of a part-time job in my field. I was offered 2 jobs in the same day after 6 months of job searching, so go figure. Don't portray your frustration. This is really important. You know, employers can sense when you're frustrated, when you don't feel like you're going to get the job, when you don't feel that, you know, you're being given a realistic shot. They can sense that right away. So try to just stay positive. A positive attitude is a really good predictor of success when it comes to job searching. Just continued on with the do's and don'ts when it comes to telephone and communication. Make sure you've got a reliable way for employers to get a hold of you. Make sure that the phone number on your resume is correct and in service. You know, again, personal experience with people I work with, you know, it happens more often than I would expect that people's phone number is an old number, or there's a typo on their resume and it's not even the right number. So make sure that phone number is up to date. Make sure if you have an email address on your resume that you're checking your email daily, at a minimum daily. Make sure you're responding to text messages, things like that. If you are using somebody else's number, or there's other people that are going to be answering your phone, make sure they understand that you're job searching, and that they, you know, fully understand, you know, how to answer the phone professionally and take a message, and make sure that they're getting those messages to you. And again, just check your messages and emails on a daily basis. Check your junk mail, because, you know, there is always a chance that an employer's email could go into your junk mail. Don't expect the employer to track you down. We as job developers and employment counselors will go the extra mile and spend the extra time to try to get a hold of you. When we have opportunities, we'll, you know, send an email, send a text, call several times, leave a voicemail. When it comes to an employer trying to fill a position, they don't have time for that. So they're just going to, you know, they might call you once, and if there's no room for voicemail, that's the end of it. They're not going to try again. Don't record a voicemail that's unprofessional. We all, you know, heard those voicemails that give us a little chuckle and it's funny with our friends and our family. Those things just, they're not professional, and an employer's not going to be impressed. So if you were to register with us, in order for us to market you, you would need a copy of your current resume. Hopefully your caseworker will have an electronic version of the resume, and hopefully it's in either Word or PDF format. We go into more detail as to why that's important in the online job search workshop, but it just makes it easier for everybody to be able to read it if it's in one of those formats, preferably PDF. Do adjust your resume to suit each job you're applying for. When you're looking at a job description, you need to make sure that your resume speaks specifically to the skills that are asked for in the job description. You know, it can't really speak to it in a roundabout way. It's got to directly state either in your cover letter or your resume that if they're asking for 5 years of retail experience, for example, it says specifically that you've worked in retail for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, however long it's been. It's also helpful if you can keep a copy of your resume in an electronic format that you can access from any computer, you know, any computer or device that has internet access. So keep it on Google Drive or in your email, or you know, somewhere in the cloud that you can access it. So if you need to access it quickly, you can. We just have a quick video here on the importance of identifying all your skills in your resume, and just some things that employers are looking for. So if we can watch that video.
We're looking that they've been involved in the community, that they've had some experiences already in school, in high school, little examples that they've you know, already taken on some leadership roles.
I met a few students last week who gave me their resume and they didn't have any programming experience. I said, so do you not have any? Well, I have basic Python and basic Java and basic C. And I said, well, put that on there, because when I'm looking at your resume right now, it's basically telling me you've done no programming experience, even if it's basic.
On the resume, I like to see experience, school classes and so on, but I also like to see what is their other life involved, what are their other activities, because I'm looking for a holistic, well-rounded student who is creative.
We're really looking for a mechanical engineer that has a passion in understanding engines and also developing engines and forwarding the technology that surrounds engines.
Okay, so just again, in regards to that video, the importance of identifying all your skills in your resume, even if you think that you know, it isn't relevant or you know, it goes without saying, you do need to say it essentially. Some reasons why employers wouldn't respond or haven't responded to your repeated, in some instances, applications. You have the incorrect contact information on your resume. Again, much more common than you think. Make sure you're double checking your resume to make sure everything is up to date and accurate. Your voicemail is full, or you don't have your voicemail set up. You know, obviously voicemail is not something that's used as much now as maybe it had been in the past. Lots of people don't have their voicemail set up, but if you're job searching, make sure that your voicemail is set up and that it's not full. Messages are left with family members that aren't relaying the message to you. Emails aren't checked regularly, or the emails go to your spam folder. Your references couldn't be reached or didn't provide a good reference. We usually recommend that you provide, first of all, that you don't provide your references until you've had an interview, or at an interview. You're not providing your references every resume that you hand out. The reason for that is we don't want references being called out of the blue and not expecting it. So at least when you have an interview, you can call your references, say, listen, this company has interviewed me, they might be calling you for a reference, be ready. Because we've had lots of instances where references have been called and the person's answer when they ask, like, do you remember so-and-so working for you 5 years ago? They're like, who's that? I don't remember who that is. At least if you give them a chance, they can look you up, they can have an idea of the work that you did. So your resume is not visually pleasing, and when we're talking about visually pleasing, we're not talking about like pictures and colors and things like that. We're really just talking about the resume being very simple and easy to read, and the margins lining up, and being visually pleasing in that way, not necessarily with a lot of bells and whistles. Your qualifications weren't clearly identified, so again, as I said before, comb that job description and the requirements and make sure that at least 75% of the requirements are spoken to directly in your cover letter or your resume. Sometimes the other candidate just has more experience, okay? So we've all applied to jobs where we thought we were a great candidate, and we probably were, but somebody even better ended up getting the job. So try not to get too discouraged when that type of thing happens. And then again, number 10, the employer may still be viewing applications. A lot of this, the hiring can take on a life of its own and ends up taking months and months and months, especially when you're applying to a bigger organization like the City of Windsor, or a different government body, or larger corporations. Just briefly on networking, it sort of goes without saying, networking is obviously important. We know that when you achieve employment, lots of times it has a lot to do with who you know or who you've spoken to. What most of us don't understand or don't take full advantage of is that a network doesn't necessarily need to be somebody in a hiring capacity or somebody that works for a company that you want to work for. It could just be a friend or a family member or a former colleague that knows somebody that's a hiring manager, or knows somebody that works at a company that you could work at. So when we are looking for employment and we're trying to network, consider everybody that you know to be a lead to employment or a potential lead to employment. So make sure that you make it clear to the people that you speak to on a regular basis that you're looking for work, so that they can think of you when opportunities arise. So yeah, your network could provide access to services and supports, and it goes without saying, many jobs are obtained through networking. So just a quick example that was attached to an article in the Wall Street Journal in regards to networking. So Jesse Barnes posted on LinkedIn that he had been let go from his job, a sales job in Minneapolis, and he's 26 years old, and he posted this on his LinkedIn, and he started getting responses from people, friends, colleagues, former coworkers, that not only said, sorry to hear that, but started offering suggestions and started offering leads to employment. So, post it on social media, or again, just let your people know that you're looking for work, and you never know what opportunities could arise. So the next video that we're going to ask you to watch is just in regards to the hidden job market and what exactly that is. It gives just a brief definition, and then I'll talk to you briefly about how we can help.
The hidden job market are those jobs that are in the economy or available to you, the job seeker, but you can't find the postings, okay? Or it's an employer that has a very obscure website, and maybe they posted their job, but maybe it's not coming up anywhere else, and if you don't go to their specific site, you won't see it there. The other hidden jobs are the ones that are given to recruiters, where the employer doesn't actually even post the job external to the organization, in terms of they give the job to a recruiter to do that work for them, right? The other hidden jobs are the ones that aren't created yet. In companies with less than 100 employees, there are jobs that if you fit a need and can provide a solution to a problem that the organization has, they will make a job for you, okay? Now, in larger companies, it's a little bit harder to do that, but in smaller companies, they have that flexibility, and those are the hidden jobs. And the only way to find those hidden jobs really well is to go directly to those hiring managers and get to know them and create a dialogue, so that when that job comes available, you're on their mind. Best of luck.
Okay, so in the video, the lady speaks about the hidden job market and the jobs that never do end up getting posted on an online job board or in the newspaper, and different sort of traditional ways that jobs get posted. Just a quick note in regards to our services with employment and training services, and why it is beneficial to you to register with us. As job developers, we do speak to employers on a daily basis. One of our things that we try to do is get those employers to provide us opportunities to our clients before they put a job onto Indeed or the other job search websites. And really, it's to their benefit, and lots of the employers do take advantage of it, because by the time they put a job on Indeed, they're getting bombarded with applications of individuals that may not be qualified, or even may be qualified but just get buried in a pile of hundreds or thousands of applications. So what we're able to do is sort of do some screening for them, provide them resumes of people that meet exactly what their qualifications are that they're looking for. And we can do so with little or no hassle for the employer. And so, we do have access to that hidden job market. So again, get registered with us if you are searching for employment. Just briefly on volunteering. So lots of people understand that the benefits of volunteering, the fact that you can make contacts in your industry, that you can gain skills and things like that, get references. What lots of people do, and it's a big mistake that people make, is when they go and volunteer, they treat it like a volunteer opportunity. They treat it like they're not getting paid. And that's a problem. And then you're not going to get the full benefit of the opportunity if you don't treat it like a job. So show up early, dress professionally, work your tail off. Those things are really important, because the person that's supervising you in that volunteer opportunity may be a reference for you, and you want them to have the best possible impression of you. So it can help you develop relationships and help you set goals to accomplish. The local resource for volunteer opportunities is just on the bottom of the screen there. It's wevolunteer.ca. It's maintained by the United Way in Windsor, Essex, and that is not a full list, but a pretty extensive list of available job opportunities in Windsor, Essex. In regards to apprenticeships, so apprenticeships are an opportunity to learn a skill or a trade on the job. It usually does include some in-class instruction, but largely it's based on the idea of doing the job in order to learn it. So the Ministry of, in the Ontario government has a website, ontario.ca/page/skilled trades, that identifies all the trades that are available for apprenticeships in Ontario and sort of the path that you need to take in order to pursue those professions. So, anything from, being a chef to tool and die or machinist or those kind of things are all available, and it gives a quick outline again of the process you have to go through in order to get an apprenticeship. We at Employment and Training Services can help you to find an employer willing to take on an apprentice if you've identified a trade that you want to take that path with. The next video that we're going to ask you to watch is just a quick explanation of why it's important to understand the local job market or the labor market information, and a quick idea of some of the resources available on the internet that can help you to understand what jobs might be in demand in the coming months or years.
Tell me what to take so I can get a good job. This is a statement that college career counselors hear all the time, and it's a fair one. You want to pursue your interests, but ultimately you also want to find a job. The good news is that there's a ton of information out there about which industries are hiring, and this video will help you to navigate some of it. Labor market information, or LMI, can tell you lots of different things, such as job trends, the jobs and skills employers are looking for, what industries are hiring, where the jobs are located, and areas of job growth or decline. Looking at this kind of information can help you with your career planning, but it can be overwhelming to sort through the huge amount of info that a quick Google search turns up. So first, we're going to show you a few reliable places to find labor market information. A good starting point is to look at the Government of Canada's website and go to the Job Outlooks page. Here, you can see if growth in the field is limited, fair, or good. The release date of the information appears in the lower right-hand corner of each section, so you can tell how recent it is. If you check out the website's job bank, you can also see any job postings that are currently listed and get a sense of who is hiring and the salary. The Provincial Jobs website also provides great up-to-date information on the job trends in Ontario. Here you can search by occupation and access information about employment growth and wages, among other things. Statistics Canada is also a great resource that provides labor market information, including employment rates across the country. Another helpful resource to check out is Algonquin College's Graduate Employment Reports. These reports, put out yearly, can be found online and show you how many people graduated from a program, how many found work, whether or not it was related work, and other information. The online Career Coach tool can also provide labor market information for the Ottawa-Gatineau region. Now that you have an idea of where to look, there are a few important things to remember when sifting through labor market information. You want to make sure the information is coming from a reputable source, like the government websites we just looked at. Think critically about the data presented. What is the sample size for the statistics? So, do they ask enough people for the information to be reliable? Similarly, is the data up to date? You'll want the information to be relatively current. Finally, check your expectations. While it would be wonderful to graduate and immediately secure a high-paying job in the city of your choice, it's possible that you may have to move for a little while to gain the experience and skills needed to secure employment in the area you would like to settle in long term. Remote and rural communities often provide more opportunities than you would have in larger urban areas where the competition for employment can be huge. And finally, don't be turned off by short-term or part-time opportunities. Part-time and contract work are a great way to gain experience and get a foot in the door.
Okay, so in that video, they spoke about some of the resources available to get information about the labor market and jobs that are in demand. They spoke specifically towards the end about the Ottawa-Gatineau region. There are similar resources available through St. Clair College or the University of Windsor, so I would encourage you to check those out. The other local resource is Workforce Windsor Essex, and their website is workforcewindsoressex.com. And the last slide that we're going to show you today is going to show you some of their resources. But one of the things that they do is gather information about the local job market and trends in the local job market and jobs that are going to be in demand in the next months and years. Specifically, they have a tool that shows the construction of the new bridge and the jobs that are going to be available through the various procedures that are involved in building that bridge. So I would encourage you to check that tool out. It's very valuable, especially if you're considering, a new career or going into some sort of training. So what do employers really want? We speak to employers on a daily basis, and as much as they want people that have skills and education and things, they really just want somebody that's motivated, reliable, and dependable. We hear it on a daily basis. And they just want someone that's going to show up and work hard and be respectful. So one thing to consider, if you do find yourself having difficulty finding or keeping a job, you just might want to think about, is there something that you're doing that's preventing you from maintaining these employment opportunities? Do your coworkers find it difficult to get along with you? Do you have difficulty keeping a job? Have you had employers comment on your performance or redirect you frequently? Are you late or absent from work often? And what do you consider often? We want to avoid, being absent or late from work as much as possible. Obviously, if you're sick, you're sick. You can't control it, and we're not advocating for people to go into work and get others sick, but we do want to just make sure that people understand that it does leave a bad impression if you're calling in sick on your first or second day of work. So just keep that in mind. Once you land a job, here's just some quick things that you can do to try to, maybe keep that job. Make sure you have your responsibilities in order prior to starting work. So your childcare, your bus schedule, travel time. Try to have a backup plan if it's possible, and it's not always possible, but in terms of childcare, if one person cancels, is there another person you can call, if it's an absolute emergency? Try out your transportation a day before or the weekday before to make sure that you can get to work on time. Make sure you're treating coworkers the way you would like to be treated. I think that goes without saying. Keep yourself in check and be mindful of your mood or actions. This goes back to having a positive attitude and just understanding how you're being perceived by your coworkers and your managers and things like that in terms of your attitude. If you do have problems or concerns, discuss it with the appropriate person, and the appropriate person is not your colleague. It's a manager, or it's somebody in a higher position that can do something about it. If you're just gossiping and complaining with your colleagues, a little bit is one thing, but if it becomes incessant, it's gonna come back to bite you in the end. Whether it's your friend speaking to your employer about some of the things that you've been saying, or them overhearing it, or them hearing through the grapevine. It's just not going to help you, especially when you're first starting at a new job. So finally, I've spoken a few times about Workforce Windsor Essex, and this is just a quick slide that identifies like a couple of literally dozens of tools that they have on their website that can help you with your job search. So there is the We Jobs email, which I subscribe to and get daily, that they just send out all the new job opportunities. So you can go to their website and subscribe to that email. You can go and look at the We Jobs, the We Maps, which identifies all the current job opportunities and puts them onto a map so that you can see if it's on a bus route, if it's close to your house, if you can get to the different jobs. So that's a great tool, and they have the We Jobs board, which is just all the current opportunities. So I do feel like it would be worthwhile for you to go and check that out. Spend some time on the website, check out all their tools. Again, that's workforcewindsoressex.com. That brings an end to the slides. I do thank you for watching. If you do have further questions, we would normally be doing this in front of an audience and we would answer questions, but if you do have questions, you can contact your caseworker if you're registered with us. If you're not registered with us, I encourage you to do so. You can call 519-977-6444, extension 5520. To either register, or even if you just have questions and you want to contact a job developer, you can call and ask us any questions about your job search. Thank you, and I appreciate you watching.